How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
We have seen a boxing bout parade in as a game of cricket in Mullapur. Punjab had some punches, Chennai had some counters, but there was one undisputed champion as a star is born, with Priyansh Arya smashing the most sensational century you will see in a long, long time. 103 of 42 as Punjab Kings post 219 for 6 against Chennai Super Kings. Some innings to unpack for us on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout with Wasim Jaffer, Piyush Chawla, Matt Roller. Wasim, it's a good thing he got out as early as he did because it's given us some time to gather our thoughts. How good was that?
That was outstanding for somebody who's playing his fourth or fifth game. To hit 100 in 39 deliveries and see a ball striking from a young boy like that is just outstanding. And against the bowlers of Ashwin, Patirana, and those guys, even Khalil, just outstanding. Looks like a proper talent, and I hope looking from the outside, looks like a guy who's got a wise head on his shoulders. And I hope he stays like that, and we'll be seeing him in color blue very soon.
Not too many would have known about Priyansh Arya, not a lot at least, before this IPL season. Among those who did, there was one sitting in his dugout, Ricky Ponting, who had the tallest praise before the season, and another who was on our couch. Because before this, Priyansh Arya had one T20 100, one professional 100, and Piyush Chawla, you had the ringside view to that one.
Well, I saw that very closely. In fact, I would say I was at the receiving end because the way he batted at Wankhede against us, he got that 100. And you can see the talent. When a person walks in, he plays those first few deliveries, you can really make out what kind of a talent he is. And Priyansh Arya looked really special in that game when we played. And today, he took the game by himself because from one end, they were losing wickets and going at that pace, getting 100 of 39 ball, because generally as a youngster, last game you got a first ball duck and you come in and you saw 3 wickets losing from the other and just in the power play. So you want to just tend to mellow down a bit, but he was on a song. Like the way he was handling everyone. Ashwin, he didn't show any respect. Patirana comes in, we thought, okay, there will be some breaks on the scorecard. He greeted him with 3 sixes. So he was just special today.
Blessed with a sense of timing, not just with the bat, but also when it comes to the timing of that knock we just mentioned, which Piyush saw, was Delhi versus Uttar Pradesh in the first game of the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy right before the IPL 2025 mega auction. To have had the duck last game, to see wickets falling all around him in what was the most frenetic power play in first 10 overs we'll possibly see, and to continue batting the way he did.
Yeah, he got an unbelievable ball first up from Jaffer last time. So to come out and hit his first ball for 6 tonight was a pretty impressive start. And he just kept in 5th gear throughout. He, rode his luck a little bit in that he had a couple of chances here and there. There was a catch on the boundary line where Mukesh Chowdhury stepped on the rope. But I think the fearlessness of that hitting, particularly, it's one thing to talk about fearless hitting when you're in a big partnership for the first wicket. But when you're 80 odd for 5, you've lost half the team inside 8 overs. It's a completely different situation. So for him to have continued to play the way he did and to go on and turn a cameo into a real match-winning, probably anyway, or a match-defining contribution is mighty impressive from a guy who's obviously so inexperienced at this level.
And I think that number on the screen is so telling. Priyansh Arya 103 of 42, the rest of Punjab's top 6, 23 of 25, had his chances, dropped second ball, cotton ball chance, there was another drop on the boundary, one tough chance in the middle. But when you consider the shot making, what stands out to you?
I think it just with the ease that he plays all those shots, and he plays all around the park. It's just not in one area. You can see him cut the ball, drive the ball, the pull shots, and to the bowlers who are bowling at 140 clicks. And that is, he's not short of time. That's what impressed me. He's always in the position to hit Ashwin over cover and then slog sweep. Patirana, we mentioned, it's highly impressive. I mean, I've seen the scores when he got runs in Delhi Premier League. He got some big runs there. Piyush obviously bowled to him. I was sitting with Navjot Sidhu and he said he's probably the 3rd best young player that he's seen, barring Sachin and Ankit Kalsi. I think he was from Punjab. That's very high praise from somebody who's seen so much cricket.
I know it's easy to get caught into the magnitude of the knock, but even without exaggeration, it does feel like an all-timer knock in the league's history?
Well, you have to give credit to him because the way he batted, he saw wickets falling from the other end, and the way he was taking on against the experienced bowler, I'll say it was one of the top knocks.
And how do we now assess how CSK went about things? There can be an element of being caught just in shock of a batter you haven't seen much of. But what did you make, Wasim, about the way CSK were going about their bowling and their bowling plans?
Well, I think they'll be surprised because the wickets were kept falling, but the run rate never slowed down. So you got to give credit to Priyansh and obviously Shashank. They were 83 for 5, and still runs were coming plenty. So you got to give it to Punjab for that approach. In any other team or any other team probably would have slowed down, probably got looked at 160, 170, 180 max. But Punjab batters were brave. And they're reaping the rewards. I think, that was definitely above par score.
There are other bowling bits to examine, but I guess one of the standout features is also what I can count as 5 dropped catches. 3 off the Centurion, a couple of them which you'd count as very takeable.
Yep.
And then one of Shashank Singh towards the end as well. CSK's fielding, we've examined their batting, we've examined their bowling, the fielding too has been far from what you expect.
Well, when the things are falling apart, it falls together. So we have saw that in the fielding as well. When you miss chances on this kind of league, where it's a high pressure game, so these things do happen. The batter is not going to leave you. They're going to punish you, and that's what we have seen. And there's a lot of credit goes to Shashank also. Wicket kept on falling and he came, and he's somebody who's experienced. He has played first class cricket for a long time. So the way he handled those overs in the last, even after losing Priyansh Arya's wicket, and another partnership with Marco Jansen, he played a crucial knock as well, because you have to count those impactful runs, because when we see somebody getting 100, another guy getting a 50, so somebody plays those 30 odd runs knock, that becomes even more crucial then.
Yeah, and that is such another vital component of this innings, because as great as Priyansh Arya was, at the point he got out, 154 for 6 in 13.4 overs, the risk of potentially being bowled out, or also the risk of potentially having to activate a batting impact sub in the form of, say, Suryan Shedge. So the way Shashank Singh and Marco Jansen first just negated those first few overs, commendable?
I think probably Shashank negated that. Marco Jansen didn't look in any mood to, come into the, that kind of mindset. He came and hit the first ball for 6. So he was, in his elements. But yeah, Suryan Shedge was padded up. I think they were looking at him if a wicket had fallen down at that stage. But it's a perfect stage for, Vijay Kumar Vaishak or maybe Yash Thakur to come in now. The ball's in, obviously, in Punjab's court now.
Yeah, because if a wicket falls in those next couple of overs, not only are you sending in the batter, you're then going into the chase with limited bowling options.
Yeah, and I suppose that was a challenge for Punjab in their last game. We saw Marcus Stoinis bowling the 20th over, which felt like actually quite an important moment in the game when you consider he was expensive, and they started quietly with the bat as well. Jaffer Archer obviously taking those 2 early wickets. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll be pleased that they didn't end up activating that sub. And yeah, 2 brilliant partnerships really that Shashank was involved in, obviously playing second fiddle to start with Priyansh Arya. But it was very impressive again. I think he's someone who, he's the sort of role player that you need to go really well if you're going to compete for a top 2 spot and a playoff spot in the IPL. If they've obviously not probably had the contributions they would have hoped from Glenn Maxwell and Marcus Stoinis with the bat so far this season, but if you've got an experienced Indian player who's not played a lot of international cricket, but has obviously come at a relatively low price in the auction or as a retention, then that I think that bodes well for a team like Punjab.
From a bowling perspective, Piyush, what were the plans or what was the type of bowling that worked? Because yes, Priyansh Arya and Shashank Singh's runs, but a lot of the other batters struggled. So what's working on this pitch?
Well, if you see, they've bowled well actually. You have to give credit to the batters sometimes, because Priyansh Arya, the way he took on against all the bowlers, there were some actually really good balls which he has hit out of the park. So I think it's just simple plans. You come and bowl into the wicket, and for spinners also just bowl wicket to wicket, and that slightly short of length ball where the ball finishes between knee and thighs. And I think cramping up the batter is more important on this wicket. You don't want to give that room because we have seen what this ground looks like. Anything outside width, you just put your bat on the ball, it goes away. So that is the most important thing. Into the wickets and that hard length.
I'm going to stick with you, Piyush. Ravindra Jadeja has bowled 3 overs for 18, each of his overs going for 6 runs apiece. Again, he's not bowled out his quota. If they got their calculations wrong there.
Well, looks like that because I was a little surprised. He was somebody who was actually putting the brakes on the run, but he didn't get his 4 overs and he just went for 18 runs where the team scored 219. So I think that's where Ritu made that calculation because if you talk about that one crucial over in that 20 overs inning and instead of somebody else going for 15, 18, even Jadeja could have gone for like, you never know, but the way he was bowling, the kind of rhythm he was in, so that might make a difference in the later stages.
Yeah, Jadeja's now bowled 13 overs in 5 innings for Chennai across the season, which when you consider the money that he was retained for, feels very odd to me. It feels like there's some kind of maybe a mistrust between Gaikwad and him, or maybe he is reluctant to bowl to particular, to left-handers, I think is one of the issues that we've seen across the season. But it does seem very strange that a player who's retained as a core all-rounder, who's played so much cricket at this level and at the international level, is bowling as little as he is.
Yeah, and that's why MS Dhoni should captain. While he's playing, he should be the captain.
Are you saying that with a straight face?
Now, genuinely, I feel as long as he's playing, if he's decided to play, he should be the captain because obviously he doesn't make those blunders, and the players obviously, I won't say it's a blunder, but players play differently. They got used to playing under MS Dhoni. Rituraj relatively new as well, but while MS is there, he should be the captain.
Thoughts also on R. Ashwin, who's had quite the odd seesaw of a game. First over went for 21, last over went for 20. In the middle, 2 overs, 2 for 7, getting Vadera and Maxwell.
Well, the first over he bowled that difficult power play over, and in those 2 sixes, the 1 over covers by Priyansh, that was a good ball, to be very honest. You have to give credit to Priyansh here, the way he picked that up. Nehal Vadera facing first ball, as a bowler, you don't expect that, and that too with 3 wickets or 2 wickets down, that he'll step out against the spin, like off spinner, and hit him over mid wicket. So I think that was some smart batting. And later on also, when he went for 20 odd runs in that over, he created that chance where Mukesh Chaudhary, if he would have taken that catch, so story would have been different.
Right, so 219 for 6 is where Punjab finished, which means CSK have to go where they haven't gone in 10 attempts since 2019. Not chased 180 plus in 6 years. Do you see that changing?
No, I don't.
What is the way for them to at least attempt to change it?
Well, the top 3 and 4 need to contribute. Obviously, they haven't done that for so many years, but if at all they're going to get anywhere closer, those 3 guys need to have significant impact in this inning.
Can confirm to you that they are sticking with the same opening partnership. There have been calls for Ruturaj Gaikwad to open, but it is Rachin and Conway.
Well, they made it very clear that Ritu gonna bat number 3 to strengthen their batting in the middle order. So, as Wasim bhai mentioned, it's very important in top 3, one has to hold the one end up and play that long innings so that they can get closer to the target. And contribution from Shivam Dube has to be very important here.
Punjab bowling plans, are we expecting Vaishak Vijay Kumar as the impacts are probably?
I would imagine so. I think the interesting ones will be firstly who takes the new ball. Obviously Jansen's been used in a couple of different roles so far, as an opening bowler and also as a change bowler.
I will apologise, it's not Vaishak Vijay Kumar, it is Yash Thakur who has taken the field. But carry on.
And I suppose the other interesting one, I think, as Piyush should have alluded to, is how they're going to use Yuzi Chahal against Shivam Dube. We know that Dube is such a destructive hitter of spin. Chahal's obviously had a quieter season than he would have liked so far, so I think that looks like a really interesting head-to-head through the middle, how both sides manage it.
Right. Let's get started with predictions, and I'm only looking at you, Wasim, because you're almost perfectly landing them. Missed the result by 4 runs the last time, missed the score by 4 runs this time.
Punjab to win at least by 30 runs.
Piyush?
Well, Punjab to win, I'll not say how many runs because my prediction with numbers are not going that great, but I'll say Punjab to
Give us a range.
win. Yeah, I'll say 20 runs.
Okay, I have another question for you. How many balls will MS Dhoni face?
That's actually a toughest question out of the lot. But I want to see him coming up the order because it's a good wicket to bat on. It's not a typical Chennai wicket where the ball is gripping and spinning and the ball is coming really nicely and we know what he's capable of. Like even if he get to face like 15-18 ball, and I'm sure that he'll come with the intent to maximize those 15-18 balls also.
Are you going to venture into a very specific margin for us?
I think Chennai will get a bit closer tonight. I think it's mapped out for them nicely, but I think they'll lose by 10 runs. And I think MS will just face a handful of those at the end.
All right, let's see where it goes. Thank you, Matt, Piyush, Wasim. If it were to happen, if these predictions were to be right and Chennai were to lose, that's 1 win in 5, and that will mean they are one of 3 teams, Mumbai Indians, Chennai Super Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad, possibly among the favourites for many as playoff contenders who will all be at 1 win after 5 games. So it's going to be a lot to dissect at the end of these 20 overs. Be sure to join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.